has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here, back with another video. If you like what I do, go ahead, smash the subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here, back with another video, and this is going to be episode 30 of Your Questions Answered. It's crazy to think that we've already had 30 episodes of this series, and it's definitely been an enjoyable process for me, and I hope it has been just as enjoyable for you guys. Today's episode is going to be loaded. First, I'm going to take your guys' questions, and I think I have some really good ones to answer this week, and then at the very end of the video, I'm going to talk about some of my expectations to the upcoming, heavily rumored UCS TANTIVE set that is probably going to be coming May the 4th. We got some pretty conclusive evidence yesterday. I'm going to discuss that later in the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Before I jump into the video, I do want to say thank you so much to the person who contributed this week's custom intro. Shout out to Playmation. That thing is just so amazing. I thought that Galactic Breaks held the title so far for the best custom intro for this series, but I think Playmation is probably right up there with him, if not right above him. I cracked up so much when I watched it for the first time. I've been showing it to as many people as I can that I know personally, just like, look what this cool thing that a fan did for me for my channel, and I hope that everyone in the comment section enjoyed it just as much as I did. Let me know what you guys thought about that intro. I personally thought it was awesome. Let me know what you guys think. If you're watching this and you're not familiar with Your Questions Answered, Your Questions Answered is basically a Q&A series that I do here on this channel. If you want to see your questions answered in one of these videos, leave it in the comment section below, then check back next week to see if you made the cut. And also, like I just mentioned, Playmation did a custom intro for these videos. I am always accepting custom intros for these videos. It is honestly a pleasure of mine showing off some of you guys' creative work and just funny skits or whatever that you have planned for those intros. So if you'd like to see your intro at the front of the video, send it to me as an unlisted YouTube video. That is the best possible way to get it to me. And check back next week to see if you made the cut. But without further ado, guys, let's jump into the first question. First question comes from T Lego Boy. He says, which of these would you keep if you could only keep one? 1, your Porg Army, or 2, your ATM-6? This is a very difficult question for me to answer. I consider my ATM-6 to be my child almost, but then my Porg Army is basically my children, so how do I decide between the two? Like, my Porgs are the defenders of my mock space. If anyone tries to bust up in this house, you're gonna have to face the wrath of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Porgs. What are you gonna do when the Porgs run wild on you? I don't know. But then I have the ATM-6. The ATM-6 you don't even want to come near. It's just so intimidating. It stands its ground. It has glowing red eyes. Honestly, I might have to go with the ATM-6. The easy way for me to determine this is because the ATM-6 cost me much more money to build, and also I just haven't seen it in such a long time. It's literally been sitting here in shambles since the last convention that I took it to. So after Vardos, I'm gonna probably do a bit of a mock showcase video. Going to fix up all the big ship mocks that I've done, put them all in one video and show them off, which means that the ATM-6 is finally going to get the makeover that it deserves. It has been in pieces for far too long. Next question comes from Battering, and he says, what is the worst scene from the originals? There are 2 that come to my mind immediately, and both of them are special edition changes. The first one is, of course, the Sice Noodles dance and song number. It is just awful. It is so out of place. It looks bad too. That's the worst part. It doesn't even look good with the new CGI. It's like the worst looking thing in the movie that was made over 30 years ago. So definitely gonna have to go with that one for number 1. The number 2 is gonna be the scene that he added in with Jabba talking to Han Solo. One just didn't need to be in the film. Like, there was a reason it wasn't included initially, and the fact that the aura and mystique of Jabba is now ruined by just throwing him into a random sequence in the first film of the trilogy, I don't really appreciate that. I think it's just a bad scene. When Han Solo walks over his tail, it looks so ridiculous. Definitely gonna have to go with either of those 2 for the worst scenes in the originals. One thing I noticed about the original trilogy is, like, in themselves, without like the special edition changes, they really don't have any awful scenes or cringeworthy scenes, so that I can definitely appreciate about them. Can't say the same thing about a certain other trilogy, if you know what I mean. Next question comes from Alyssa Page 484, and they say, can you impersonate or at least attempt to impersonate a few Star Wars characters? Absolutely. I'm a little sick, so these may sound a little bit off, but hey, why not go for it? This is my Jar Jar and Tarpos impersonation. Jar Jar, use the boomba. Misa don't have a boomba. Captain Tapas? Jar Jar, what are you doing here? You said big doo-doo this time. This is my Watto impersonation. You supply the boy, I supply the pod. We split the winnings, 50-50. Boss Nass. Racist Nemoidians. They are no match for droidicas. For some reason, all those ended up being from episode 1. I don't really know why. Maybe episode 1 just has the funniest lines to impersonate. And the next question comes from Spider-Gwen. They ask, when the new Imperial dropship comes out, are you going to get enough to have all the stormtroopers on Vardos use the new helmet mold? Unfortunately, Vardos is going to be long gone by the time that battle pack comes out. I'm planning to have Vardos done by at least the end of February. That is my goal. I know it keeps getting pushed back further and further, but a more reasonable goal is for me to have this thing done by the end of February. These sets don't come out to April, so timeline basically works out to where Vardos is going to be long gone. I'm going to be working on my next project by the time those new battle packs come out, but rest assured, I'll be picking up plenty of those guys because I definitely want to accumulate a lot of them for my own newly updated, fresh Imperial army. Next question comes from Mellow Yellow J-Lo, and they ask, what do you think about episode 9 really focusing on the prequels to tie everything together? I've seen a lot of people who will honestly complain about the new trilogy not having enough references to the prequels, and I think that's asking a bit much from them. I mean, if you look at the original trilogy in itself, that doesn't have that many references to the prequels. The sequel trilogy is 30 more years removed from the prequel trilogies, so the events of the prequels just aren't that relevant during this time period, which I think is absolutely fine. We shouldn't just shove references in there for the sake of having references, but have them actually make sense. Obviously, much time has passed since the prequels by the time of the sequel trilogy, and I think that's fine. There are enough references to the original trilogy in the sequel trilogy. There are your little spurts of prequel references, like with the clone army, but all in all, we don't need to go overboard. The prequels were a very long time ago in terms of the sequel trilogy, and I think a lot of people often forget that. Next question comes from Cameron Corsino. He asks, what is the most easy to forget scene from each trilogy? This is a good question. For the prequels, I gotta go with just the entire sequence from when they get back from Tatooine onto Coruscant, and there's just this extended sequence and a bunch of boring talking stuff happens. I always forget that this part happens in the movie every time I watch it, just because nothing really of importance happens here. They just end up going back to Naboo. So all in all, it's a pretty forgettable sequence altogether. For the original trilogy, it's much harder to answer this question. I really can't think of anything from the original trilogy that I watched it, and every time I see it, I'm just like, oh, I totally forgot that happened. Probably because the original trilogy has just been around for so long, and it is the original Star Wars, so everyone really takes every piece and part of it as just like the ultimate version of Star Wars. So I don't think I can give a definitive answer for the original trilogy. But for the sequel trilogy, I have to go with the scene with Maz and Rey in Maz's castle whenever Rey finds a lightsaber. And the reason I say this is forgettable, it's not forgettable for me, but it seems like a lot of people are forgetting it because of how they reacted to the reveal of Rey's lineage in episode 8. In episode 7, Maz tells Rey that the belonging she seeks is in front of her, not behind her. Basically saying, forget about your parents, they're not coming back. The person who can come back is Luke, focus on that. Which basically led me to believe that her parents were either nobodies or they didn't really matter. Yet episode 8 rolls around, we find out that her parents are actually nobodies, and people are surprised and acting like, oh, this goes against what J.J. Abrams had planned all along. I think if J.J. Abrams didn't have that plan, then he wouldn't have had that scene where Maz basically tells her, yo, don't worry about their parents, they don't matter, it's all about Luke, go focus on Luke. So that's going to be my most forgettable scene from the sequel trilogy. I just feel like a lot of people don't really focus in on that who are angry about the revelation of Rey's lineage. Next question comes from Lego Soldier 82. He says, like the video, my question is, which Galactic Civil War era battle packs would you like Lego to remake with the new helmet molds? And do you think Lego will go back and remake old battle packs with the new print / molds? Great question. So honestly, I feel like there aren't a ton of Galactic Civil War era battle packs, but some updates that I think that we could use for Stormtroopers are specifically the Shock Trooper. That's one that could definitely use the new helmet. So if they wanted to do some battle pack with like a Shock Trooper, Stormtrooper in it, I could definitely see that happening just to get that print on a new helmet. I feel like the quote-unquote indoor battle pack we got had like 2 Rebels and 2 Stormtroopers. I think if they decided to do an indoor battle pack updated with like the Rebel troopers from the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium and had the new Scout troopers that are going to come in that set later this year, that would actually make a great battle pack. I would certainly be a big fan of that. For do I think that'll remake old battle packs with new prints and molds? I don't know if they'll make it a point to go back and actively update old battle packs. I just think it kind of was a coincidence that the year they decided to come out with a new Stormtrooper helmet mold, it was a 20th anniversary, so they felt a good way to reintroduce that battle pack was with the new helmets. I think it just kind of came out that way, but moving forward, I think they'll just come out with new ideas for battle packs, and they may have characters that we had in other battle packs before, but I don't think they would actually go out of their way to recreate old battle packs, but I do hope they go out of their way to get more battle packs out there with these new molds that we're getting, just so we can focus on rebuilding our armies with these new updated figures. And the final question comes from Mysterio1264, and he asks, what torso does your sig fig use? Now, I guess technically I have two sig figs at this point. The first one is me at work, and this one actually uses the Lego torso from the employee minifigure that is exclusive to Lego store employees. It is quite a rare figure, so I try to keep him as safe as possible. And then on the other side is me in the streets, and that is, I guess, my crate sig fig. And the torso there is actually Cassian's from, I believe, the Battle on Scarab set. So hopefully that answers the question. And now it is time for some UCS speculation. It has been heavily rumored that this year we were going to get a UCS Tantive 4 set. We didn't know when it was going to come, but it is becoming more and more apparent that that set is most likely going to be coming out for the May the 4th UCS release. We got some pretty concrete evidence of it yesterday. We had a leak of a minifigure of basically a Captain Ramus Antilles figure. The only context we see this guy in a Star Wars film is on the Tantive 4, so it makes sense. The last Tantive 4 set that came out had him in it, and that's the only set that figure has come in thus far. So once again, it would be consistent with that. The one thing we do know concretely about this set is it is going to be $199.99. We can look at some evidence of earlier sets that we got this year. For example, we got the Death Star escape set with the new Leia in it, and we got the 4+ TIE Fighter with the new Rebel Fleet Trooper in it. I think that all of these little bits and pieces of evidence combine to basically make a compelling argument that yes, we are definitely going to get the Tantive 4, and I honestly don't think I could be any more happy with the decision to do this. I love the Tantive 4 as a ship. It's been quite a while since we've gotten a Tantive 4 set, and doing this for the 20th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars, I think fits very well. I think at that price point, we can expect it to be somewhere between the sizes of the UCS set and the system scale set that they released more recently. My assumption is that it would be a little bit closer to the scale of the UCS set, which I would certainly prefer. I think the UCS set is really the perfect scale for a build like that. There are really only two things that I want to see from this set. One is that it, of course, looks good. Like, it should definitely look good from the exterior standpoint. But the second thing is actually an interior. It doesn't have to be an elaborate interior. It doesn't have to have a bunch of rooms or anything, but I think there's two crucial rooms that it has to have. The middle of it has to basically be the hallway where Darth Vader walks in. It is one of the most iconic scenes in all of Star Wars. We got these new Rebel Fleet Troopers. Why not use them? Have them being thrown around by Vader in that hallway, especially with Rogue One having come out pretty recently. It just makes sense for them to do that scene in this set. I think the cockpit will probably have a little bit of an interior. We know from LEGO sets in general, like, if there's not going to be anything, there will at least be some sort of cockpit interior, so that will make sense. It'll also be It also could possibly be a cool way for us to be able to recreate the scene from Rogue One when Leia is revealed in her CGI form. Now, if I want to go crazy speculation, like cool things that we could expect from this set, one of the cool things that I think that I actually do for this set is have like a new Leia, basically with her hood up, because obviously in the Rogue One scene she has her hood up. At the beginning of episode 4, she has her hood up, so it would be nice to get a new head mold of her hood up, and like maybe the hair kind of dual molded into it so you could partially see the front of it, but the back of it is just the hood. I don't know, I think that would be pretty cool. Also, if they wanted to go ahead and make it an even more accurate figure, they can go ahead and give Leia the white skirt piece. Unfortunately, I think the existence of that Death Star escape set Leia that was basically a somewhat newish figure that was added into that, I think we're probably just going to get that figure recycled into the set. Lego's track record has shown me, like, if they have the figure, they're not going to go out of their way to make a new version of it. If it's already in production in another set, they'll just do it in this set. I'll see you later. But all in all, guys, I am so excited for this UCS set. What do you guys think about it? If it does happen to be a UCS Tantive 4, will that be a day one buy for you? Are you excited for that set? Definitely let me know in the comment section below. That rhymed. But yeah, guys, that's going to finish up the video today. I hope that you enjoyed it. This was a really fun Your Questions Answered for me to do. I feel we had an awesome intro. It's nice that we almost have confirmation of what the next UCS set is going to be. I want to know your guys' thoughts on that. And yeah, it's looking like a good year for LEGO Star Wars. So like I always say, guys, if you want to see your questions answered in this video, leave in the comment section below. Make sure it is LEGO Star Wars or LEGO Star Wars related. Check back next week to see if you made the cut. Also, go ahead and send me those custom intros. I am loving this streak that we are continuing to have with custom intros. Please keep sending them to me. I literally cannot get enough of them. And then finally, if you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.